This is a survival broadcast, not a performance. I'm not here to impress you, I'm here to share with you what's real, so you don't have to learn it the hard way. If you've watched me for a while, you've seen it firsthand. I didn't come out here with a blueprint and a bank loan. I didn't follow some influencer's prefab fantasy. I came out here the hard way, because I had to, and if you're still watching, you're probably one of the few that understands. Off-grid living isn't a vacation. It's not minimalist Instagram. It's resourcefulness, exhaustion, and sometimes screaming at the wind while your dog stares at you like you've finally lost it. But it's also about peace. And for people like me who come from nothing, that peace is the biggest gain of all. Before we go further, a quick shout out to Stephanie at openairproperties.net. She's the reason a lot of people, myself included, have access to affordable off-grid land without a bank. If you're serious about finding land you can build a future on, not a fantasy land, but real land, start with her at openairproperties.net. She has properties in Arizona, Colorado, and Arkansas. So let's talk about what this life really feels like. I come from 10 generations of military. I was medically discharged from the Marine Corps, and let me tell you, each branch attracts a certain kind of mindset. Marines were built on grit, real grit. The kind that makes you push through when everything in your body's telling you to quit. That's exactly what this life demands. Not muscle, not money, adaptability, intelligence, resourcefulness. I've seen it time and time again. People show up with all the gear, all the confidence, all the dreams, but they've got the wrong mindset. And this land, it chews that up very fast. Because this life doesn't reward fantasy. It doesn't reward comfort. It rewards those who know how to solve problems no one else can solve for them. And out here, where there's no 911, no landlord, and no fallback plan, it's not survival of the strongest, it's survival of the most adaptable. The ones who stay aren't the ones who had to figure it all out. They're the ones who broke down, cussed the wind, wiped their face, and kept going anyways. Most people don't realize how loud their life is until it's gone. I wake up when the sun says so, usually between first light and 7 a.m. Out here, your body resyncs. There's no alarm, no rush hour, no artificial schedule. And as a digital creator, I still work, but I also cut trees, manage trash, check water levels, feed my dog, and keep the place running. If I had livestock, they'd eat before I do. That's the rhythm of the land life. Service first, self second. And then there's the silence. Out here, it's so quiet. It's almost surreal. I came from Florida, where the jungle never shut up. Bugs, frogs, the whole damn choir screaming at night. But here, in the Arizona desert, the silence is deep. You hear your thoughts. Solitude isn't punishment out here, it's a reward. Most of us who live this way, we want that. No neighbors in sight, no engine noise, just your breath, the wind, and land. And if that sounds lonely to you, then maybe you're not ready yet. Out here, solitude isn't isolation, it's sovereignty. And for someone like me, who's been through more than most will ever understand, solitude is my reward. It's not punishment, it's not loneliness, it's peace. The world drained my battery for decades. People, noise, struggle, pressure. Out here, the silence charges it. The stillness heals it. I don't need a crowd. I don't need a party. I need a patch of land, a chair, the wind, and the right to breathe without permission. That's why I'm still here. That's what this life really gives you. Not comfort, but clarity. I want you to feel invited, but I also want you to feel challenged. Because if you come out here with the wrong expectations, this life will break your heart and then break your back. This isn't a lifestyle you buy off a shelf. You don't escape the matrix with a YouTube video and a gear list. This is real. It's raw. It's relentless. If you need comfort, praise, or certainty, don't come out here yet. If you've got thin skin or you're used to quitting when things get uncomfortable, you won't last very long. And I'm not saying that as a gatekeeper. I'm saying it as someone who lives this. This isn't for the strong. It's just not for the weak. Because this land will test you in ways the city never did. You're going to have days where the sun bakes your brain, the wind mocks your progress, And the only thing keeping you from snapping is a worn out dog and the sound of your own breath. Days where you scream at the sky, throw tools, cry in the dirt, and wonder if you've made the biggest mistake of your life. And no one's coming to stop you. No one's coming to pick you up. But if you can survive that day, if you can endure that moment without lying to yourself, without running back to comfort, without begging for a reset button, then something shifts. You become someone else. Not because the land changed, but because you changed. You got quieter. You got tougher. You got clear. You stopped needing to be understood. You stopped needing the algorithm, the approval, the applause. You realize that freedom doesn't feel good. It feels hard. And that's what makes it worth it. So if you're hearing this and you feel called, even if it scares you, that's the test. And if you're still here, welcome. You might already belong more than you already know. The biggest mistake people make when they come out here, they think they're moving into a finished story. I had a girl once. She thought she was walking into a cabin with a porch, maybe a hammock, something out of a movie. She didn't realize she was walking into a blank slate. No structure, no power, no water, no job, just dust, wind, and the brutal truth. People think they'll just build something. They don't realize counties have ordinances, permit rules. You might own the land, but you don't control the law. They think someone's going to hand them work, that there's a little off-grid economy waiting to welcome them. But you better believe it takes months just to find a single paying gig out here, if you find one at all. I've seen people come out here bright-eyed and then they end up broken-hearted because no one told them that this life isn't made of finished cabins and solar panels. It's made of bruises, duct tape, wind-bent tarps, and 2 a.m. problem solving. You're going to have Yosemite Sam tantrums out in the dirt with your dog watching you like, damn, we okay? And that's just the start. People think off-grid means freedom, and it can, but they don't see the price. Freedom isn't free. Freedom is physical. Freedom is sweat. Freedom is learning to live without guarantees, without comfort, without anyone telling you what to do. Because there's no one to call when it all goes sideways. And the reason I hit different from all these homestead channels is because I didn't show up with a bank account and a barn. I didn't show you the after. I let you watch me build from nothing, from homelessness to homesteader, from breakdowns on camera to breakthroughs in real time. That's what makes this channel real. And if you've been here since the early days, you've seen it. Not the fantasy, the fight. Most people have no idea how addicted they are to climate control. In the city, you live inside a 5-degree bubble, 67 to 72 degrees if you're up north, maybe 75 to 85 degrees if you're down south. Your house, your car, your office, always controlled, always filtered. But out here, you don't get to choose. You wake up with the weather. You suffer with the heat. You shiver with the wind. You acclimate or you break. My dog Sam has hair like a mop. She'll look at me on those blazing days like, please turn on the AC. But I remind her, we ain't got one. Go stand in the wind. That's what you do out here. You adapt. You learn that discomfort isn't the enemy. It's the process. The only people who understand this are the ones who've already lived outside. The homeless, long-distance hikers, maybe construction workers. Everyone else, they're soft and don't even know it. You don't realize how overstimulated and undertested your body is until it finally faces nature unfiltered. But then something strange happens. Over time, your blood shifts, your skin thickens, your attitude changes. You don't just live on the land anymore, you live with it. You start to feel the seasons inside you. You move slower in winter. You hustle faster in summer. You build rhythm. And in that rhythm, you start to recover parts of yourself the world took. Not comfort, not ease, clarity, stillness, a sense of who you are when no one else is watching. For a lot of people, going off grid feels like a loss. They've lost convenience, comfort, connection. They leave behind grocery delivery and sidewalks and knowing their job is 5 miles away. And yeah, they might lose some people too. Friends don't always want to drive 2 hours down dirt roads just to visit you. They might show up for a weekend, pitch a tent, roast a few marshmallows, But are they really there for you? Or are they just there for a vacation? That's a question a lot of people don't ask until silence forces them to. But for me, I didn't lose anything. I gained. Because when you come from nothing, when you've lived on the streets, when you've trained your instincts to survive chaos, peace is a promotion. I don't worry about evictions anymore. I don't worry about who's knocking on my door or if the cops are going to sweep the street I'm sleeping on. I have land, and as long as I work, I keep it. That's not a burden, that's a blessing. And yeah, the city, I used to love it, but after hiking, after silence, after solitude, the city makes my skin crawl now. The noise, the energy, the fakeness. Out here, I know what I'm looking at. Dust, rocks, weeds, sky. It's not just pretending to be anything it's not. That honesty is worth everything I gave up to be here. You want my advice? Start here. Don't come out here with expectations. Come with goals. I work with Stephanie at openairproperties.net. And even I can't build anything permanent until I've got at least half of my land paid off. That's my goal, and everything I do is built around that. I'm getting ready. I'm making sure when it's time, I can move. Legally, structurally, strategically. Most people think they'll hit the ground building. Wrong. Your first year out here, you'll be learning more than you're doing. Learning the land, learning how to juggle work, rest, gardening, building, learning your limits, and you'll be exhausted. Not because you're lazy, but because every system you're building is from scratch. That's why it's cheaper and smarter. You live on the land while you build it. My land costs $200 a month, way easier than paying $1,500 a month in rent while you try and build something from afar. If I were leaving the city today, I'd save my last 3 paychecks and maybe even let eviction come, if I knew I was never going back. That's the think and grow rich moment. Burn the ships, give yourself no option to retreat. That mindset, it'll float you for 6 to 8 months. That's enough time to start your income stream, build your basic systems, and figure out your new life. Because here's the truth. There are very few W-2 jobs out here. You want to make it? You better learn how to freelance. You better learn how to talk to people, build trust, offer value, and network your way into local respect. And that's what survival looks like out here. It's not just off-grid skills, it's human skills, hustle skills, emotional resilience. And if you're serious about making this leap, you're gonna need all 3. So let me tell you a story. One day I see this guy out near my land. A rare sight. You might see 1, maybe 2 cars a day out here. So when somebody rolls up, you notice. He was looking at the property next to mine. Turns out, he invests in tax liens and land auctions. He was checking out a new spot. We start talking. He introduces himself. That was the beginning of it. Over time, I started calling him the mayor. Not because he's a politician, but because he knows everybody. He's the guy who waves to folks, checks in on people, shows up at just the right time with a tool or a lead or a cold drink. He gets to know his neighbors, not for leverage, but for connection. And when I had an issue out here, some real trouble with another neighbor, he rallied the community behind me. No paperwork, no drama, just people showing up and standing by someone who earned their respect. That's what off-grid life actually looks like. You don't meet your neighbors at a barbecue. You meet them when it matters. When land's involved, when survival's involved, when trust is involved. And once trust is built, it's deeper than any handshake you'll ever get in the city. Because out here, you're not just building a life, you're building a circle. I've lived a lot of lives. If you followed this channel for a while, you've heard the stories. Sleeping on concrete, losing everything, rebuilding, losing it again. At some point, you stop chasing survival and start asking yourself, what's all this even for? And one day, you realize you just want to sit on your porch, in a rocking chair, tea in one hand, cigarette in the other, dog at your feet, sky above your head, and silence that doesn't ask anything from you. That's not giving up, that's peace, earned peace. And the wild part is, this life isn't even harder than the others I've lived. It just has more honesty in it. And when you get a moment of stillness out here, a real one, you feel it. If I were working this hard in the city, I'd still be miserable, still scrambling, still empty. But out here, even when it breaks your backs, it feeds your soul. And if you've ever felt like the world drained every last drop out of you, maybe this life isn't a burden, maybe it's a battery. And I'll see you in the next one, Rebels.